The theme for Virginia Beach Leadership Workshop this year is Build a Current. The phrase comes from an excerpt of Senator Robert F. Kennedy's Day of Affirmation address. This speech was delivered in 1966 to the students of Cape Town University in South Africa. In his speech, Robert Kennedy spoke for those who were not free to speak. He gave hope to student activists who felt alone in their quest for racial equality. And he showed them how their efforts were connected to other civil rights movements around the world. Now, more than 50 years later, this message of empowering the youth still rings true. Each staff member has values and perspectives that change and shape their unique interpretation of our theme. And the same can be said for each of you. Together, we represent 11 different high schools, but one city and one community. Here is what the staff thinks of Robert Kennedy's message.
It is from numberless diverse acts of courage such as these that the belief that human history is thus shaped. Each time a man stands up for an ideal, or acts to improve the lot of others, or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope, and crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance.
I like to think about current and its different meanings. I think it resembles a water current, and it moves gently and freely along water. And we move like currents when we greet each other with smiles and open arms, and we just want to make other people's lives better.
It takes a belief of oneself as well as defiance to social conventions to shape the world. Current invokes a rush of energy that we all have an individual part to play in creating the society, and the sum of all our efforts carry a powerful force.
I think that this theme means that every single person can make a difference. Each of us are a part of a community, whether we realize it or not. And the smallest difference, no matter if we can see the impact or not, is there because we all work together to build a current.
Every monumental change in history started with just one person. So I think that's what the theme reading is saying. Just one person or ripple is all it takes.
I think that this theme inspires and empowers individuals to have the capacity to initiate change. Contextually, I think this theme shows that delegates have a role as leaders beyond just SCA and homecoming.
And our new closeness is stripping away the false masks, the illusion of differences, which is the root of injustice and of hate and of war. Only earthbound man still clings to the dark and poisoning superstition that his world is bounded by the nearest hill. His universe ends at river shore. His common humanity is enclosed in the tight circle of those who share his town or his views and the color of his skin. It is your job, the task of young people in this world, to strip the last remnants of that ancient cruel belief from the civilization of man. It is these qualities which make of our youth today the only true international community. More than this, I think that we could agree on what kind of a world we would all want to build. It would be a world which demanded of each government that it accept its responsibility to ensure social justice. It would be a world of constantly accelerating economic progress, not material welfare as an end in of itself, but as a means to liberate the capacity of every human being to pursue his talents and to pursue his hopes. It would, in short, be a world that we would all be proud to have built.
I would be proud to have been a part of building a world in which education is more highly valued and is a bigger priority in our country. I believe that there is power and empowerment that comes with a quality education, and everyone deserves that.
A world that I would be proud to have created would be one where it's full of love, acceptance of other people for who they are and what they are, because I think, as cliche as it may sound, a world full of love, happiness, and contentment is one that I want to be a part of.
A world that I would be proud to have built is one that fosters a community that uses their strengths in order to fight against the inequalities and injustices imposed amongst people of different backgrounds in order to create a more inclusive and friendly and unified society.
The theme reading is relevant today because although we have made great change in our society, we need to continue to make great progress. And the only way to do that is through the little simple acts of courage and kindness and hope that have the power to touch others' lives. And if we touch enough lives, we have the power to electrify nations.
This theme is really relevant in our society today. I think that there's lots of violence and chaos going on right now, and I think it's really important that youth is our future, and I think they definitely can build a current and are the ripples of change in our world today.
Building a current, I think, is really impactful, and that just stands alone. I definitely think that in today's society, that's what a lot of people need. They need to have the courage and the power to imagine what they can do.
So our world is completely different now than it was back then, and people are more confident in themselves. So therefore, they are speaking out for what they believe in. So with this, they have the courage to be who they are and create these ripples so that more people can be confident in themselves and be who they are.
Today, more and more of the younger generation are starting movements and standing up for what they believe in. All they are using is a little courage, and they are you.
Our answer is the world's hope. It is to rely on youth. The cruelties and the obstacles of this swiftly changing planet will not yield to obsolete dogmas and outworn slogans. It cannot be moved by those who cling to a present which is already dying, who prefer the illusion of security to the excitement and danger which comes with even the most peaceful progress. This world demands the qualities of youth, not a time of life, but a state of mind, a temper of the will, a quality of the imagination, a predominance of courage over timidity, of the appetite for adventure over the life of ease. First is the danger of futility, the belief there is nothing one man or one woman can do against the enormous array of the world's ills, against misery, against ignorance or injustice and violence. Yet many of the world's great movements of thought and action have flowed from the work of a single man. It was a young Italian explorer who discovered the New World, and 32-year-old Thomas Jefferson, who proclaimed that all men are created equal.
The feeling of change is indescribable, and youth need to feel that. They need to build a strong sense of confidence, because with that confidence from enacting change, they will be able to do anything.
Youth are often oppressed for being too young, immature, uneducated to have a voice. But instead, the youth of today actually has more compassion, strength, and willpower out of any other group. At such a young age, they have the ability to create a large movement that starts a small act of change.
Robert emphasizes the power of youth because they've got fresh eyes and a fresh perspective. Their creativity and willpower is unmatched and relentless.
I think as we get older, we become more aware of our consequences of our actions and our beliefs. And so it's when we're young that we're most capable of making change, because we're unafraid of our beliefs and how strong they are and the strengths of our ideas. And so it is most important to act when you're young, and act and just do, and not worry about what other people are thinking or time strengths or anything. Just do.
I interpret Build a Current as taking one courageous step forward and also taking the step that might be against oppression. It is these steps that help build the history of the world, and with these steps we must be very courageous.
I think the theme is relevant now more than ever, as more people need to start believing in the power of their actions and their words to make a change and start something revolutionary.
In our world today, we have so many stereotypes and barriers that make us separate. I challenge you to work together and be one.
As the youth of today, it's so important that we remember the impact we can make. We have the willpower, dedication, and commitment to change the world.
The world isn't kind to change makers, and it certainly isn't easy to change the world. If it was easy to change the world, then everybody would do it, but
If it was impossible, then no one would. The way I see it is that everybody has the opportunity to change the world, but it always starts with you. Whether you're Joan of Arc or Alexander the Great, it always starts with the individual, and that's who history remembers.
It is from numberless diverse acts of
courage and belief
that human history is shaped.
Each time a man
stands up for an ideal
or acts to improve the lot of others
or strikes out against injustice,
he sends forth
a tiny ripple of hope. And crossing each other
from a million
different centers
of energy
and daring,
those ripples build a current
that can sweep down
the mightiest walls
of oppression
and resistance.